when I was in my funk, all I did was took all my insecurities, all my aggressions, and I just channeled it to tattooing. And I would go about my session, just block everything out, everything. I didn't care about anything else, just me and the piece.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Prestige Living Podcast. So with that, who do you want to be?
Hello! Welcome to Prestige Living, where we provide all of the audio content for you among the entrepreneurs in Orange County. I'm your host, Jay O'Brien, here with your co-host, Jordan Wilson.
I am very excited.
I am stoked out of my fucking mind right now for the guest that we have on the show today. We've been trying to get him for a while, and he was nice enough and generous enough with his time today to come in. And he's one of the best tattoo artists I've personally ever seen. He's got a following of 45,000 people on Instagram. The guy's booked out at least 6 months in advance. So it is with great pleasure that I bring you Miguel Ochoa. Miguel, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man, thanks again. I'm stoked.
We had to book him before we even started the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
I think we've just been on the air about 6 months now.
I want him to have the tattoo gun right now so he can do the work and we're not wasting time. So, Miguel, tell us, when did you start tattooing, and run us through your story, man.
Okay, so it was about, in September it was seven years. And the way it all started, I've been drawing since I was 2. But crazy enough, it wasn't until about 7 years ago I had several jobs, but I was working at a grease monkey, kind of oil and lube kind of spot. And on my downtime, I would always be doodling or just jotting down stuff just to kill some time. And to this day, I don't know why. They had this lady there, and she was the cashier. She used to just ring people up after they were done with whatever maintenance, basic car maintenance we were doing. So she walks over to me and she goes, "You know what? You have some very nice handwriting." And to this day, I don't even know why I said it. I was just thinking out loud. I said, "Thanks, but what I'd really like to do is take up tattooing." And I even looked up and I said, "Why in the hell did I just say that?" And I mean, to this day, it baffles me. But there's some things, you just got to run with it. So I said that. She then tells me, "You know what? Me and my husband just split up. He went to prison. I have a brand new tattoo kit at the house. I'm getting rid of all his stuff. Why don't you come by and pick it up?"
Oh, dang.
I went that same day. Everything else became background noise.
Wow.
How long ago was that? You said 7 years?
7 years.
So tell me about your first tattoo. Did you do it on yourself?
No, you know what? No, I didn't. Everybody asked that, but it wasn't like that. I just got all my childhood and neighborhood buddies, and I was like, let's see who my real friends are. So they were just my guinea pigs, and I lined them up. And first tattoo, it was still good friends to this day. It was my friend Manuel and Martha. They're a couple to this day. And I just did a fairly small tattoo. I mean, it wasn't even anything crazy. It was just something fairly small, just for me to get the feel of things.
So what do you think that tattoo is worth today?
Are you doing cover-up work on your old
Fixer
tattoos?
up. I'm fixer up.
So when you first got the machine 7 years ago, did you have any idea how they worked, or did you have to just learn by doing?
Luckily enough, it came with like prosthetic, kind of like pigskin kind of sheet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got my hands on that, doodled with it like twice, threw it out. I said, I got to get my hands on the real thing. And from then on is when I really started applying myself, being more assertive as far as lining people up and applying myself to the craft. Yeah.
How long was it from that day when you started to when you actually started in a tattoo shop?
Okay, so I was about 4 months in, so I was fairly new, and I did my research, man. So what I did is I used to come across tattoo magazines. And I was already pretty familiar with like the local spots, and I said I only want to work with the best. So I put only, I believe, 3 shops that were up to par, which what I felt was kind of like in my league. And of course, you want to resonate with those people. So
what 3 shops were those?
One was a lowrider tattoo. And
Yep.
those are the ones that actually took me under their wing, and the other one was it was a Boulevard Tattoo, and they're out of Garden Grove, I believe. And the last one was Good Time Charlie's, which is like an old school tattoo parlor.
Yep.
It's been around for like 30 plus years.
And so you ended up going to work for Lowrider, and then did you start an apprenticeship? How did that work?
It was funny the way I did it, man. It was kind of out of default. So I used to go and I used to buy like tattoo machines from them, and then I became kind of like a shop hang around. I was just like everybody's shadow. People would be working and I would just be hovering over them. And at one point they were like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And they were like,
"We either kick him out or give him a job."
Yeah.
So that's what I did. But my thing is, I wasn't so like. Of course, you don't want to be annoying. So I applied myself. I was being assertive in the way that I basically did all the bitch work. Everything that nobody wanted to do, I just signed up for it without them even asking. I just took initiative. I would just start sweeping. If I saw something that was off the shelf, I would organize everything. I would take initiative. I would just do things just so I can just, learn from the gate. And that's what really helped, and that's the way I felt like they really took me in. They were like, what is it that you do? Like, what are you doing here? And I told them, I just want to learn. And sure enough, I didn't even have a lot under my belt. I was fairly new, so it was a learning curve for me. I busted out my portfolio, and they were like, you know what? You're all right, brother. With a little bit of guidance, you should be good. So they took me under their wing, and I started an actual apprenticeship that took roughly about 8 months before I actually became a professional tattoo artist.
And who were you working under specifically?
That shop is amazing. I got mentored by everybody. So the feel of that place it was more like a family feel. So it wasn't really anybody in general. Of course, Jose, the owner, he was the head artist. So he's like
that's Jose Lopez.
Jose Lopez, yeah. He's the guy, the
I remember I went to him in 2008 for a tattoo, and the place is just everywhere. There are awards in there. Like every time he'd go travel, he'd get an award. Every time.
Every time.
And he'd be like, first place, boom, 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 boom. And then I remember looking at this one award, and I asked him, what's this one right here? It was bigger. And he's like, that's best tattoo artist in the world, 2007.
No big deal.
Big deal.
And I'm like, what the fuck? So that's a good guy to work under. How long were you there working under all those guys over at Lowrider?
6 years. So I was there 6 years.
Damn, you put in some time.
Yeah, I put in some time. I was, my thing was, I come from primarily a Hispanic neighborhood and upbringing. So my parents is one thing that they really did, they embedded in me, especially my father. He was, very, I could say, he was very cautious of the way that he did things. So he didn't want to be stoic in the way that he didn't want to like branch off and right away.
Right, more conservative.
More conservative way of doing things. And I felt like that did work for a certain amount of time, but I really wrote it out with those guys for quite a while. And just, I felt like it was the right time that I happened to branch off and, to right now, a year being on my own.
Rewind a little bit, because I am so naive when it comes to this kind of stuff. What is the apprenticeship? Like, are you getting paid? Are you just watching? Are you tattooing? Like, what does the apprenticeship do?
So, what it consisted of, for the meantime, when I got taken in, you don't make any money. You kind of work off tips.
Like an internship almost.
Yeah, you do all the things that nobody really wants to do. Nobody wants to clean. Nobody wants to mop. Everybody wants to. If there's some kind of function, everybody heads out and you're there lucked out. But I didn't care, because I always thought, the light at the end of the tunnel. I said to myself, you know what, this is gonna, one day, I used to paint a pretty picture in my own head. I said, one day I'm gonna have my own chair here. I'm not gonna rely on nobody. I'm gonna be self-sufficient. I'm gonna do things like on my terms. Even though I'm under this umbrella, I'll still have my own entity.
So at what point did you decide, all right, you know what, I think it's time for me to leave the nest. I'm going to go off entirely on my own and start my own brand?
It wasn't until a year ago, literally 1 year ago.
1 year ago. Okay, so what does that transition look like? Because at this point, are you able to capitalize on the traffic that Lowrider is bringing in? Do you think that made any difference at all, or was it like you were pretty much booking your own appointments anyway?
Well, it got to that point. We both, Lowrider and myself, benefited from the from the fellowship that we had and the network. But it got to a point where I was, pretty self-sufficient. I was pretty assertive in the way that I knew what I was capable of doing, and I really applied myself. They really everybody there mentored me, to be honest, in a way that everybody brought something really cool to the table, different backgrounds, different nationalities. So you get different walks of life coming in, and you see how when I go to places, I'm a people watcher. I like to people watch. So I would just go see how everybody went about their day, and I would see things that I liked or things that I didn't like, and I would apply them, and I would get crazy results.
That's awesome, man. So when you went off on your own and you did this, how did the first few weeks or months look?
To be honest, to be brutally honest, actually, I was kind of in a funk. I was kind of in a dark place. When you step into the unknown, you have doubts, insecurities. You got, naysayers. You got a lot of things that you really didn't feel would. You see really your support group. You see who really rocks with you and who really doesn't. So that's what I started really doing. And what happened is, when I was in my funk, all I did was took all my insecurities, all my aggressions, and I just channeled it to tattooing. And I would go about my session, just block everything out, everything. I didn't care about anything else, just me and the piece. When I would pour myself out and when I would finish, I would step back and I would look at it and it would give it right back to me. I would look at my client's face. They were like, holy hell, like I didn't even know I was going to walk out with something even remotely close to this. So it was a really good feeling. I just started taking just channeling it out in that way. And
it's like
just
therapy.
And the results I was getting were something that I didn't even feel I was capable of doing or was even remotely close to pulling off. And it were just,
How long were you in that dark place?
I would say the first 2 months. The first 2 months were really, I was, rough around the edges. Like I said, you're stepping into something that you're fairly new to. It's a learning curve. You don't know what to expect.
And you're married, right?
Yeah.
Do you have children?
Yes, I have one 3-year-old son. Yeah, it's my treasure.
Okay. So you have a 3-year-old son. You're married. You have a home in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, when you're going from a specific income source that is more or less, for lack of a better word, guaranteed, you're leaving that and you're going off on your own, and you've got mouths to feed, and you're the man. Tell me about how that makes you feel.
So, and I've always been pretty, I used to be honest with you guys, I used to do a lot of things out of muscle memory. I was kind of on autopilot. I used to just be a workhorse. That's the way I used to do things. I used to just, channel everything out through working. But now I do things where I'm very clear. I'm very present with who I'm with, who I'm talking to, what I'm doing. So as far as like being a provider, that's something that has always been embedded in me from the gate, but I was kind of doing it on autopilot, which was not right. I wasn't present with my family.
Just going through the motions.
And friends. Yeah, and that's something that I really needed to detach from and break away. So I actually, just through that, started reading books, really educating myself. I started rewiring my brain of how to do things, how to approach things, So, one quote, I know you just went to see Anthony Robbins. This one was, speaks volumes to me. It was, it's not the conditions, but your decisions that predict one's future, So I felt that was really relevant to me at that point.
I love that. So when you were in this place and you said you were reading a lot, what are some books that really have resonated with you and you can attribute some of that serious growth to?
Depending on the subject, if I could take reading vacations like Bill Gates, I used to just binge on books, or audiobooks. If I'd be exercising, if I was, showering, brushing my teeth, this is constantly playing in my household. So my intake is constantly things that are positive. If it doesn't make me money, bring me positivity or happiness, I don't make no time for you now. And I became more assertive in the way I approach things. I'm more stoic. I used to be kind of Epicurean, like, hopefully things manifest for me. And I was like, no, hard work doesn't go unnoticed. So I really became more assertive in that fashion. And these books, that helped me, I could say Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a lot of Will Durant. Any Will Durant, to be honest, is clutch, man. You know, Philosophy's always good. What else? Other books that helped me. You know, you can't go wrong with the greats. I mean, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
You know, one thing, it's funny, you said Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I mean, when I started tattooing, at one point, I was kind of, you know, in a little rut. And Jose, he gets this book, and he hands me this book, and he goes, "Here, this is for you." And I was in a funk. And I said, "What the hell does this have to do with tattooing?" He looks at me dead in the eye, and he goes, "This has everything to do with tattooing."
And it was Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. You know, you just brought up a great memory, actually. I totally would have forgotten. When I was getting tattooed by Jose Lopez, most tattoo shops you go into, there's music playing, you know, whatever, movies on, whatever is going on. And when music's playing and someone knows the song, it's somewhat common for someone to kind of like sing under their breath a little bit, maybe like lip the lyrics a little bit. Well, when I was getting tattooed by Jose, it was about 6 hours straight on my chest. And it wasn't music we were listening to. It was an audiobook, and it was The Art of Seduction. and he wasn't singing the lyrics, but he was reciting everything verbatim. So this guy is inches from my face, tattooing me, and he's just seducing me, literally, like reciting everything, because he's heard the book so many times that he was just talking the words of the book like to me for 6 hours as he was tattooing me. It was
a good 6 hours.
Honest to God, one of the sexiest fucking things. One of the sexiest fucking things.
Sexiest session ever.
I hope he's listening right now once this is released.
I hope he is too. So that's good, man. So you've had some serious positive influence through reading, through audio content, just any type of information consumption. Like, we're absolutely guilty of the same thing. Like, I always have podcasts going, always have audio books, whatever, because you can apply it to your life and you can see how you can grow. So a year ago, you leave the nest and you start going on your own path. At what point, you know, you said 2 months you were in this dark spot. At what point did it click and all of a sudden you start to think, you know what, I think I can make a living doing this without anybody else's help?
When I really got things in motion was when I really started applying myself through tattooing, and I started seeing, you know, the emails, they started kind of dwindling a little bit, and that's when I really started hyperventilating, and I said, no, you know, through these books, educate yourself, pull through, and I happened to, you know, just promote myself on social media, and I wasn't really, it was through social media, but I started getting the results like 2 months after, when I really started working and I started seeing the pieces really start to change. The work started to change. What I started doing too was I started promoting not necessarily what everybody wanted to see, but what I wanted to promote to land more of. So I would do pieces that were more like cultural or heritage pieces, no longer, you know, coming from, you know, this part of Orange County. It's more like primarily Hispanic too that were coming into lowrider. So I was doing more religious sculpture work. But I said, we can still do that, but I want to do my take on it, put my stank on it. I was like, I want to do something different along the same lines. So I'm still doing statues, but it's more like a Ganesh from a Hindu background with a Gandhi portrait next to it. So it's still portraits, still statue work, still very religious. It's the same medium, but it's just different. And now I'm landing more of that, and I started really seeing the filter of clients coming in.
So we were talking about Jason Quinn earlier. That reminds me of how he shaped his restaurant. Like, he designed his restaurant to draw a specific type of client. And is that something that that's what I'm taking from what you're just saying? Like, you want to do, like, you're trying to attract a certain type of person that's going to be into that specific type of work that you're doing.
Exactly. And that was really what I really am trying to own now. I found my niche. I really want to own it. I just want to bring in people that are like-minded, people that are hungry, very, you know, aggressively trying to grow in whatever medium they're in. I mean, you know, food-wise, you know, real estate, whatever it is that you happen to do. I want to just be around these kind of people. I can't be around people that are stationary. Like, I want people that are aggressively growing, and every time I get clients in the chair, it's all walks of life. So now I'm like picking at their brain, and there's people that are just like myself. It's a mirror image of myself, just in their medium, whatever it is that they might do.
And you do mostly grayscale work, right? Not color?
No color, just black and gray.
No color, okay. That's awesome. Yeah, everything that's on my body is all the same way, no color. And
I gotta check it out, man.
Yeah,
Take your shirt off, bro.
I mean, I'm gonna get naked right now. But
I mean, you don't have to do that.
I do. So the emails start to slow down. You start to hyperventilate, but you're believing that it will tick or will click, and then now, this is a year ago, so it's not like this was ages ago. This actually, this is like this just happened, and so eventually you had that tipping point, so to speak, right? And now, tell me about your business, where you're at. What the shop looks like, if you have support staff underneath you, what the wait time is to get an appointment.
Yeah, I honestly, it's something I gotta throw out there. I felt like it was a learning curve for me, so it was intuitive thought. I feel like you gotta act on it. Things manifest from that. So when I would think about something, I would just apply it. I'm like, don't think about it, just apply it. Even if it was an error or a glitch in it, I would notice it. But that's progress in every way. So I would definitely. I started getting the ball rolling. I started getting the different clients. So right now, I do have a very small support group. I have my studio manager, and I have. I actually am looking into a PR team, but they have to have my vision. Like, I'm very critical now of who I let in to the brand that I'm trying to create.
You gotta share the same vision that you have.
Yeah,
of course.
you have to. You have to be aggressive too. You can't be stationary.
Speaking of that, we talked last week, and I had been in contact with a casting company that had contacted me about a reality TV show. And when I was speaking with them, they do a bunch of different reality TV shows. One of them is Ink Masters. And they said, do you know anyone who you could recommend for this? And I said, yes. And I gave them your name, and they're like, we've already tried reaching out to that guy.
Oh, burn.
So that's not in your vision then. That's something like that is not of interest to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's not. I mean, I appreciate what they've done. TV-wise, I mean, they really took tattooing to a whole different level where it's more, it's more acceptable now. They want to make it part of society, which is helpful because it sheds some light to people that really don't know, have a clue anything about tattooing. It sheds some light on it, which is really cool. But I feel, and I'm gonna just be honest, they're making a parody of something that I take very dearly.
Yeah.
Because we've been approached. I mean, when I was at lowrider, we were approached by, MTV, and they wanted to make a show, but it was on their terms. Like, we got to show you guys how to act. Like, there's going to be scenes where you're going to be doing this, and we were like, no, we're not. Right. I thought you were here for the artwork. Nope. What's all this? What's all this extracurricular activity that we're not signing up for? So they turned it down.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the stuff that's actually marketable. The hook is the art. That's like the anchor to it all. But then, of course, it's like
all the drama on the
we
side.
need the drama. We need the story.
We got to garnish it with this, and it's like,
I know it's. Yeah, that I can understand how that'd be frustrating. So now you said you have your office manager. Is that? Or
I have I have a studio manager that handles all. She just does bookings and dates.
Got it.
That's all she does. She doesn't do PR work. She doesn't do social media, nothing like that.
And how far out are you booked right now?
Right now, it's 6 months.
Dang.
She actually reached out to me, and she was telling me, you could actually book out for 1 whole year. But I'd rather do... I told her not. I told her to just, hold off on that. Because I prefer increments of 4 to 6 months. So I close the books, and then when those 4 to 6 months are coming to a close, I open the back up, and I allow other people to come in. Because what happens is, when you have a whole year booked out, you don't have a lot of wiggle room in case there's some clients, some ideal clients that really want you to go somewhere, or I want to take a trip somewhere. There's a campaign over here. There's some kind of function I need to. Now I don't have any room to breathe, and I kind of I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to sign up for that.
So speaking of going somewhere, I saw on your Instagram a quick video of you in Vegas doing a tattoo. Can you tell us about that? How often do you travel and you will go to somebody's spot in Vegas and give them a tattoo? What does that service look like?
You know what? In November, I've been on my own, and I've been very fortunate enough, again, a lot through the help of Lowrider Tattoo. But just this year alone, being by myself, I went to San Francisco, I went to Las Vegas, I went to Atlantic City, I went to Brooklyn, and then I went to Trinidad and Tobago for personal clients.
I'd say that's a good token of success right there. You know, like
that was, yeah.
And so
it's a good start.
on that note, like when you have your assistant booking out all these appointments, what days and what times are you blacked out? You refuse to work during that time, so she knows.
Usually, the holidays, any kind of personal time that I need. Like,
what about weekends and stuff? Like,
yeah, I don't work weekends. It's Monday through Thursday only.
That's awesome. So you're working Monday through Thursday for the next 6 months, guaranteed.
Yeah, and Fridays I do work, but it's more like PR work. Like I do, a business meeting, some kind of function, just to show face in the industry. You want to, show face, I guess.
And are you booked like on Monday through Thursday? Are you booked solid? Like, what does your daily routine look like?
So I do one a day. So it's one client. I'm very clear. I'm very present with them. The whole day is just booked out just for them.
They've got the whole day.
So yeah, it's just you and I, nobody else. My manager might come in, bring you some coffee or something, but she just comes, goes in the office, does her little shindig, emails, bookings, dates, times, then she's out.
I gotta say, man, I really admire the way you're running your business because it's so different than how most tattoo artists operate. For those of you listening who have ever gotten a tattoo, I'm sure you'll agree and you can relate to what I'm about to say. But tattoo artists, they're typically what they bring to the table is simply just raw talent. That's what it's just like a musician, right? Like you got to have the managers that freaking get them on stage because they're so fucked up out of their mind, and like you get them to play, and then it's like you got to babysit them, right? And like that's in the tattoo world. I've gone to a bunch of different tattoo artists. And I've had a lot of different experiences, and one of the most common themes is like it's cool to not be punctual, it's cool to be late, it's cool to keep your clients waiting. And I'm in real estate and I'm a businessman myself, and there's nothing that bothers me more than bad business. And when you tell somebody that your time is more important than theirs, and that's exactly what you're doing when you're late. That's exactly what you're doing when you don't honor an appointment, or you cancel last minute, or you postpone last minute. For circumstances that are unwarranted. And I can just tell that the way you run your business is much differently. You say you're dedicating an entire day to one specific individual, and you just really honor and respect that person has chosen you to brand their body forever. That says a lot about your business.
Exactly, and that's I'm very humbled by that. For someone to leave a deposit, wait months for a date to finally come around, up for their turnaround time to come, I'm definitely going to give them my all. I give them 100%. That I owe that to them for doing that and signing up. I mean, you can get a tattoo anywhere, but...
Are you able to talk a little bit about how much a deposit costs or how much a day costs, or maybe just give us a range?
Yeah, definitely. So deposits are $500, and it goes towards your piece.
Got it.
Non-refundable. Let me throw that out there.
Non-refundable.
Non-refundable.
Yep.
And that sets you, depending on the person, if you're local, but a majority now are out of town. I have really no local people. So if they're fairly close to the area, I do a consultation with that $500 deposit. If not, we do this, phone call or Skype if they want. It's just to have a consultation so they can get familiar with me. And shed some light as far as like what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, and what the long-term goals are for their work that they're trying to get. And the minimum is $1,500.
Okay, so
for the day.
That gets you the whole day.
That gets you the whole day.
Okay, and so
one thing out there too.
Yep. Please.
I also have a travel rate. So if I'm going somewhere, I actually have a travel rate, because what happens is when I go somewhere and I'm in your backyard, you're paying for the luxury of me being in your backyard. So I'm paying for hotel or apartment or in food, drink, any taxi, Uber, every, X.
The cost of doing the business.
That's the cost of that you're paying. So it's juggling it out. It's pretty.
And is that travel cost? Is that fixed, or is that depends where you're going?
No, it's fixed. It's fixed. There's so it's very clear. And there's I don't want it to be too much debt to ratio. Like, oh, you're saying this, but you're showing me.
Yeah.
No, it's very clear. There's no technicalities. There's no oversights.
It's basically, if I'm traveling, it's this price. If I'm not traveling, it's this price.
Yeah.
Got it. So that being said, your Instagram following is like 45,000 people that are following you. Are you getting a lot of your business through social media now?
Yeah. I gotta say, so that's one thing. When they happen to come in, I want them in person. So when I really pick at their brain. So when I'm talking to them, I said, "How'd you find me? What led you here?"
Right.
So that's one of the first questions off the bat. Why are you here? What led you to this? Why me? And a majority of the time, it's social media. Social media led me here. IG, I found you on IG, or someone, there was it got reposted or retweeted to this blog, and I found you through there. And that's like 75 to 80% of people.
That's awesome, man. At what point did you experience that tipping point on Instagram where I would imagine it probably goes from like 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, and then eventually it's like, whether it's 35 or 40, it's like you're probably getting followers exponentially at that point.
It was cool. It was I had a fairly small core following when I was at Lowrider. Now that I've been on my own, started doing things different, and I gotta say, I really started applying myself and really trying to promote the work that I kind of wanted to land. By me doing that, it started getting reposted by other blogs and sites, and just links that were cross promoting me, and that's how I really started getting really blown up. In that sense, the IG just blew me over. It was just all these people retweeting, reposting from different
sharing and all that.
Sharing it.
So speaking of cross promotion, let's give your boy a plug right now. We've got the photographer in house right now, and I actually found his stuff through Instagram and through your page itself. So Steve Garcia.
Yes.
Name of your company.
SAVP Films.
SAVP Films on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Because I got to tell you, and I just want to sidebar real quick. I was talking to Miguel a little bit about this. Steve, for those of you who have not yet seen his videos, and those of you that have, you'll know what I'm saying is true. You're extremely underrated at this point. You're like an undervalued stock, and I would throw every fucking penny I had on it right now, to be honest with you, because this guy's gonna blow up, and the Instagram followers are just going to come. So anyway, we want to thank Steve for being here and for taking video.
Yeah, thanks for filming.
Because he's crushing it. But anyway, yeah, Miguel, so your Instagram game, Twitter, Facebook, you're getting most of your clients that are coming from all over the place. Would you say there's one specific geographic area that you're seeing a lot of the clients come from?
A lot is all over the nation. All over the nation. I'm very fortunate. I got to throw that out there. Very fortunate that I have that support group. It's very humbling, man.
What's your favorite place to travel?
In the States or out of the country?
Yeah, like when a client goes, hey, I want some work done, you're like, maybe I could squeeze this one in because I want to go there.
Okay, I love San Francisco and I love New York City.
Okay. Yeah, I love New York City too.
New York City is so aggressive. I mean, punches and bunches. I love it.
Yeah, I love it there too. And can you tell us what your favorite piece to date is?
My favorite piece to date? Okay, I know it's kind of crazy, but it is gonna be. I gotta say, it's that Ganesh. I did that Hindu Ganesh, and it was a really cool local client. His name is AJ. Shout outs to AJ for that. But that's the one that really, propelled me to people who were like, "Whoa, this kind of work is being done by Miguel." This is, people were like, "I didn't even know you did that kind of stuff," and I was like, "Well, you never asked."
Now
So,
you know.
yeah, now you know.
Damn.
Yeah.
And tell us a horror story. Tell us a time where a client just was your worst nightmare.
Oh man, jeez, the ones that I gotta say, and I want to be pretty blunt.
That's what this show's all about. Just
Okay.
lay the shit out.
I gotta lay it out, man. It's usually the ones that are really critical as far as not giving me any wiggle room as far as being creative. I don't want to throw it out there, but I had people come from, South America, had all his references, had them all sized, had everything like mapped out. I was just like a transfer tattooer, and I was like,
you're tracing a stencil at that point.
Yeah, and I said, what led you to here? Oh, well, I saw your work. These people, they gave me the luxury of like being an artist,
the artistic license.
Yeah. So why would you come and you can get this done anywhere? And people were like, I came from very far, waited several months, I did this, and I never published that piece. I never published that piece.
So is it that you don't want to do any replicated work?
No. I mean, I've had people that, the piece, I didn't even, it's been done, but they were like, I want this piece. And I said, what? I've already done that. And they're like, it's already been sized down. And they were like, but this is what I want.
So they pulled something that you had done before.
Already initially done.
Oh, another
like
tattoo.
On somebody else?
But what if it's like a portrait? What if they say, I want a portrait of my kid?
Oh, yeah, that I'll do. But these particular ones are the ones that I'm talking about. It's the ones that give you no wiggle room.
Right.
It's kind of like, you don't want to have a Band-Aid. And, once I take it off, it's like I have much more room to breathe. These people were just not giving me any kind of nudge to do anything.
Yeah, so the work becomes unenjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing, again, I didn't promote it. And what happens if the piece was really nice, it was clutch, but I promote that, you land more of that. Now he refers people that are just like-minded like him.
Slope.
And now I have a lot of people that are willing to pay, they're willing to wait, but they want that. So now my work week becomes a nightmare.
Got it. Okay, so...
Well, I was going to ask, Miguel, so who does your who do you go to do tattoos?
I'm very fortunate. All the guys that I really dig, or actually all my buddies, so all my buddies did all my work.
Okay.
So yeah, all the lowrider guys, all the guys that I've looked up to in the industry, I happen to, create fellowship with them, and they actually worked on me, or I worked on them, or we traded at times, and it's a really good feeling. So it's like all the guys that I actually initially do like, cool. They won't work for me, or they're my buddies, and it's.
And are you tattooed basically all over?
No, I have my parents' names on my chest. I have my arms. I just have like little, those are like my heavily tattooed areas. I would say is my arms and my chest. I have my parents' names on my chest.
Are you gonna go for the neck tattoo or the hands?
No, I gotta say I'm holding off on it, but I like the bridge of just if I wear a long sleeve, you wouldn't even tell.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Okay, so let's give some plugs here because we want you to fill up that year mark. So it's Miguel Ochoa, and on Instagram, what's your Instagram handle?
It's Miguel_Ochoa.
Okay, so that's it. Just first name _ last name,
Ochoa.
And then that's MIGUEL_OCHOA. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And what about website, portfolio, anything like that? Just Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram. I have a website, and it has a blog. So there's content on there. If you really want to get thorough with it, I actually do it myself. I've had people that I happen to travel with, and they said, "Man, you do these rigorous long sessions. Who upkeeps your site?" And I said, "I do." And he said, "Wait a minute. You do these 10-hour sessions, then you still do a photo shoot, then you edit your photos, then you write a blog, and then you publish all this?" I said, "Yeah, that's in a day's work." He said, "Man, I hire someone just to do that alone." I said, "No, I really want to create this brand on my terms."
He said, "That's why I'm Miguel Ochoa, you motherfucker."
It was funny because I was like in the very beginning, I pulled his website up on the computer, and I was like, "Oh wow, whoever maintains his website's pretty good." Like he has to have somebody else.
I did it myself. Yeah.
Love that. Okay, so you got anything else, Jordan?
No, that's it.
Anything else you want to plug,
Are we
Miguel?
gonna get naked still, or is
Are we
that-
gonna-
Yeah, I'm still
do
going to get naked. That's still going to happen. Well, Miguel, thank you so much for being on the show again. That's Miguel Ochoa, and that's Miguel_OCHOA on Instagram. So go check that out.
Turn off the cameras.
Thanks, Miguel.
Thanks again, guys.
If you would like to be on the Prestige Living podcast or know someone that would be a great guest, go to www.prestigelivingpodcast.com. We'd love to hear your story.